Hey guys, Sinner Saints here, and welcome to my channel. If you enjoy the content, please leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. Alright, well today's video I'm going to have a little bit differently. I'm not going to talk about how good a unit is or anything like that. Today I'm going to show you some video, and I'm going to drone on in the background about what I think about Total War Arena, where I'd like to see it go, some of the factions I'm excited for, and stuff like that. So, without any further ado, let's jump right into the videos for today. Okay. Ignoring all of this.
I bow before no
replays. Yeah. You get on your knees in front of somebody, I'm sure. Thing about Spartan culture is that they were very homosexual. So I'm sure he got down in front of somebody. Okay. Let's do some watching and talking. So, first off, in one of these, I'll show, I think, maybe. I'll show you how to properly play Leonidas in a defensive manner. Not fucking camping the base like a piece of shit. Where are we at? We are over here. Alright, nope, not what I wanted. Not what I wanted at all. Let's do a quick pause. Let's get a... Not what I wanted. UI, hide, we don't care about that. Fog of War, off. Here we go. Anyways, so gotta keep track of my guys here. But first off, I want to talk about some of the things I would like to see come to Total War Arena. The first being limited ammo. So, if you played any other Total War title, Total War Warhammer, Total War Thrones of Britannia, Attila, Rome, whatever you've played, you know that in most Total War Arena games, the archers and catapults, you know, your ranged units, they have limited ammo. They also have different ammo types. So I would like to see more of that incorporated into Total War Arena. You know, the flaming shot actually dealing decent morale damage, the limitation of how much ammo a ranged unit has, because I just feel that they have too much ammo. Granted, you know, most of these fights only last for, you know, upwards of 15 minutes at maximum. That's playing to the very last second. But I still feel like they tend to use quite a lot of ammo, especially like artillery. Now, I get that they miss quite a few shots, but I think that they have too much ammo, just plain and simple. You know, the ranged units in this game are too effective. So are the elephants. I could talk forever about how you could balance the elephants, which I will actually get into this here in a second. Because there's not enough that kills elephants. But I feel like for your javelins, they're pretty good. Like, you don't really need different types of javelins, obviously. Which I guess you could use different types of javelins or whatever, but you really don't need them. So that's just my opinion on that. You don't really need different types of javelins. Maybe you could give them different javelin heads, I guess, if you really wanted, so that they dealt more damage or whatever. You know, decrease their range, something like that. Maybe make it so that they could throw 25 times in a match. Now with javelins, 25 hits, that's devastating. With archers, I feel like they should do more damage against elephants. Maybe give them 40 shots. Slingers, maybe give them 30 shots. With heavy arty, give them 15 shots, and light arty, maybe give them like 25, like the javelins. You know, something like that, but you can get it mixed up, you know. Make whistling shot a consumable, heavy shot a consumable, light shot a consumable. You know, these are different types of ammo. Make it so they can carry a couple different types of ammo if they want it to, but it's not something that's gonna necessarily hinder them. So, you know, like you could have, you could carry 2 types of javelins, each one, you know, you decide how much, you know, regular javelins you want, how much light javelins, so lighter javelins so you could throw further, or heavy javelins so you could punch harder, or whatever. Sorry, I punched my fist. I don't know why. I'm moving my hands around like you can see them. You know, things like that. Heavy shot for your archers that just deal more damage to infantry. A lighter shot to go further. Flaming shot to hurt morale and damage cavalry more. I also think that would help against elephants, since elephants are technically a cavalry unit. With your slingers, heavy rocks, you know, deal more damage to armored targets. Lighter rounds to go further. Whistling shot would just kind of hurt the morale a little bit. Simple things like that. With your arty, you know, scatter shot, flaming pots where they splash down on burning ground like that of oil or whatever that does significant amounts of damage. Things like that. You can see we're losing by almost 100 points here. This is a good example of sticking with it. But there's a lot that can be introduced to the community for the range purpose that will make it better. Now, here's why I think ranged units should have limited ammo. Because every ranged unit is good against something, but not good against other things. And there's nothing like seeing a slinger on your team throwing into a testudo at the front, or raised shields of a Leonidas, and not doing shit with his rounds. I think it should be more potentially beneficial if you manage correctly, and way more punishing if you do not manage punishment. That way you don't have all these bullshit ranged players coming here who are tier 8, tier 9, and they're not doing damage, you know. Get people who actually know what the fuck they're doing. Another thing I would like to see is how to deal with elephants better. Light arty, it can do some damage. Heavy arty, it can do some damage. But a lot of times, these maps aren't really effective for artillery to be able to do much to elephants. Javelins, that's fine. They do some decent damage. Pikes do decent damage as well. But you're really missing out on being able to deal a whole lot of damage to them. And this is how I think you could incorporate that and better balance the Greek cavalry. So the Greek cavalry are basically mounted pikes, right? They got these long as fuck spears. Make it so that a single unit of Greek cavalry can kill a single elephant if they charge it. Now that sounds overpowered as fuck. Well, how do you balance that? You balance it by making it a sacrifice play, basically. They charge into the elephant and they kill the elephant, but they break their spears, lose 30% charge impact, and or not 30%, but just the 30 number, 30 off of their score, charge impact, and 30 charge impact damage. I think that's how you would deal with that effectively and still make it a viable unit, because Greek cavalry is faster than Romans. They can still hit in, they can still do some good charge damage and run away. They can hurt the other ranged units. You see we're down by over 100 points now, but we're about to take it back. He's got spikes here. Somebody's like, hey, you got spikes there. And I said, fuck it, man. I'm Leonidas. I'm going to form phalanx and go straight through him. Because Leonidas can do that, because he's a badass. He really is, guys. Stupidly overpowered. And then our cavalry will get this other one, because I opened them up. But, you got so much potential here in this game. This is probably one of the greatest MMO strategy titles to ever release. You know, a 10v10 strategy, it's got everything you need in it. But anyways, you got all this going on, and I just feel that there's so much more that can be done. Greek cavalry, like I was saying, you trade a unit, hit them, they break their spears, they lose 30 impact, 30 damage on their charge, and they're now not gonna win a cavalry charge, probably against anyone, but they can still hurt ranged units really badly. So I feel like you would put them more into a niche role of, well, we don't really have anything to really counter this, but we do have the Greeks that can instantly one-shot these fucking elephants, but at the cost of lowering their own unit's effectiveness. But I've seen games where the only way that the team had to take out elephants were vengeance or cavalry or archers. It doesn't make sense. So I think archers should do a little bit more damage. I think Greek cavalry should have the ability to charge in at an elephant and kill it, one-shot it. Now, you may find that to be too powerful, but I think it's just right, because after you charge it, you just lost a huge portion of your own fighting force there. So it's not so much that you have to go in and sacrifice your unit, so much as that you have the option to, and you can instantly one-shot that elephant. And here's why I think they should be able to one-shot the elephant, is because they have pikes on horses, and you're charging an elephant. So if a person on foot can sit there and poke at an elephant to death, how come a person on horse can't come riding up with that same pike and jam it all the way in through that elephant's chest cavity? It doesn't make good sense to me that that's how that worked out. You can see the scores real quick of how we're doing. Number 2 on the team. Took out that already. Took a lot of fire and stuff. But you can do so much more with this game. And that's one of the things that I would like to see. Maybe it doesn't come in Total War Arena. Maybe it comes in Total War Arena 2. That could be a thing. I think that would be really freaking awesome. And I would love to see that. I did not have the match in here saved that I wanted to have saved. But, so you won't get to see me. Well, you might. It just depends on how long I ramble and if I want to look through the videos to find it for you. But, there's so much more that could be done with this game. Number 2, something I want to talk about is, future factions. They've already announced that they are releasing a Japanese faction. And I've heard people complain like, oh, that's not a a Mediterranean faction. Well, motherfuckers, guess what? The barbarians aren't a Mediterranean faction. Surprise, they're from Gaul. They're from Germany. From Britain. They're nowhere near the Mediterranean Sea. So you can fuck off with that theory right the fuck now. Also, I've heard like, oh, it's not even during the classical period. Well, what the fuck do you think the Japanese were doing while all of this was going on? They were invading China. They were waging their own wars. Like, you think that they didn't? Like, that they were just peaceful, that nobody lived in Japan during this time or something? Are you literally, like, mentally retarded? The Japanese and the Chinese have some of the best steelwork in the entire world. And honestly, once you incorporate them into this game, you're going to find some really, really amazing units, I think. And I feel like, because it was really common for them to have, like, really primitive rifles, so I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that even. Not so much like a modern rifle or a modern muzzleloader necessarily, but more like a really slow firing muzzleloader that it's not. If you've seen their muzzleloaders versus like the European muzzleloaders, they're different. The way they work is different. Their effectiveness is different. European muzzleloaders are way more effective than these things that I'm talking about. So I think as a ranged unit, that would be a very interesting unit to see come in. Obviously, it'd have a very flat trajectory. I feel like it would do quite a bit of damage, but I feel like the trade-off is that you would not be able to do a lot of DPS. It would be like one shot, and now you're sitting here reloading for a while. And, you know, an archer could get off several volleys before you fired. But, of course, the shots would be nearly instantaneous. So, I mean, it would be an interesting unit to figure out how they would balance that. They would also commonly have, like, cannons or, like, a rocket artillery type thing. And this is bringing in a little bit more of the Chinese than the Japanese with the rocket artillery. But, you know, something that they could fire off once every so often, and it would go off and it would deal its damage. You know, anti-infantry or even anti-siege weapon if you really wanted it to be. So I just feel that they could have it in there. They could have their weapons, and it would be fairly well balanceable. Like, you don't have to have this ridiculously insane overpowered rifle unit to make it unrealistic. And even then, even if you don't want to incorporate the fact, and when I say that they are incorporating the rifle, I'm talking like tier 9, tier 10, tier 8, high tiers. I'm not talking that you start off with a unit that shoots a rifle. Obviously, the Japanese and the Chinese and such, they had bow and arrow, and you would start off with that. But eventually you would get to break off into like their black powder units, because they did have those, and it just makes sense to incorporate them into the game. And then for their cavalry, they could have some really badass cavalry. Some fucking samurais with no dachi. I think that's their big ass cavalry, their big ass katana. Anyways, those were commonly used on horseback, and they would rip through people. So you could have some really awesome melee cavalry with them. Maybe even, they wouldn't be as tanky as the Romans, but they would output a fuck ton more damage, I think. So you could have that going on. And of course you'd have your normal infantry units that you'd go through and you'd slowly upgrade, single-hand katanas with shields versus two-handed katanas on your foot soldiers. And of course they're upgrading different types of armor and stuff. You could incorporate, various different weapons, and I'm trying to think of what I'm thinking of here. Glaives. You'd have a glaive unit. There's all kinds of things that you could incorporate if you made just a general Asian faction and you included the Chinese. You could have their Dao, or whatever it's called, that curved scimitar type weapon. So there's a lot more that you could incorporate into this than what people are giving credit for. And they've already said the Japanese faction is coming, so unless they've changed their mind, I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a very interesting faction to deal with. Now, having said that, the last major talking point that I have just for about today is how people play Total War Arena. Now, you may have heard me mention it earlier about how annoying it is when Archer players fire at a Leonidas or a Germanicus with their Testudo or Raised Shield. I just don't understand. I'm not even going to play this because I do want to talk about this match a little bit. I don't understand how people can get into a game like Total War Arena. It's a strategy title, as are all Total War Arenas, and don't understand how the game works. And I'm not talking like Tier 4, Tier 5. I'm talking Tier 8, Tier 7, Tier 6, Tier 9s. Like they play like absolute dog shit. And it's not that they're bad people or necessarily that they are retarded, even though I would argue that they probably are in some mental capacity, not all that bright. Some of them may just be little kids that don't understand like how strategy titles work yet. I don't know. But you have people who run out as archers and fire at a unit with raised shield or with Testudo, and they'll sit there and they'll lock onto that unit, and that unit will get 9,000 defense points because they sat there the entire game and did nothing but take range fire and block all of it. And then you'll have range, who's not javelins, that will focus on firing down infantry, which is great if you're not facing any infantry. But here's where that falls short, is when you're facing other ranged units. Because when you're facing other ranged units, those ranged units, if they're a competent player, are going to kill you. You're going to get molested by the enemy range if you're not firing at the range. Here's an order in which we'll say this archer player should fire. He should fire first at enemy archers or slingers that are within range. Slingers first if he can get within their range, because they are going to absolutely destroy archers of any other rank, or artillery, or javelins, up until well, the archers don't really pull ahead of the slingers till tiers 9 and 10, really. And that's when they start dealing more damage than them. For whatever reason, I feel like there's a balance issue there. I feel like that's going to get worked out soon. And you're going to see that slingers will, at that tier, start to do more damage than the archers. Or maybe there's a way to play the slingers at 9 and 10 that, high tier slinger players and stuff, really good players that they're just missing, that they just haven't figured out yet. Doubt it, but it could be the case. So yeah, you'd focus them first, and then you'd go on, as this archer player here is as our example. Once he's focused out the enemy archers and enemy slingers to a point of where they're not really much of a threat to him anymore in the combat, then he would focus on the javelins. The javelins do a fuck ton of infantry damage. Take out the javelins next. They will kill your infantry, and then you won't have any infantry to protect you, and then you will be raped by the cavalry and any ranged units that are left. Okay, so now that you focused out these guys, what do you shoot at next? Is there any cavalry in range? If there is, shoot at the cavalry. Archers do decent damage to cavalry. Not amazing, but decent. Then, after cavalry, you can begin to shoot at barbarians, then at any Greek unit that isn't Leonidas, or any Roman unit that isn't Germanicus, that are engaged, that are otherwise engaged, whatever. If this unit is standing here, and he has raised shield on, and you're standing here, he's not fighting anybody, don't shoot at him. That's what I'm trying to say. Then you'd focus on Miltiades, Canane pikes, stuff like that. War dogs, Falxmen, the fucking just barbarian swords. Those would be your next targets. Infantry is the last thing you want to be targeting, and Testudo and raised shields are literally the last thing you want to be targeting. And if you're targeting them, you have to micro like a motherfucker, so that you are behind them or at their sides, shooting into them. Because if you're at the sides of Testudo, you're probably not going to do much damage. If you're at the front of Testudo, you're doing no damage. At the side of raised shields, you'll probably get a little bit of damage. But it's the back of both of these that they're weakest. So if you can get behind them as a ranged player, that's where you want to be, because that's where you're going to do the most damage. Now, having talked about range, next big talking point, melee. There is a player on here. His name is, Biker Was Me, or Biker Is Me, some shit like that. He is the worst player to have on your team. Here's why. He will sit back at your base with a Germanicus, and he will not move up to the fight. Now, there are benefits of base camping. There are. And there are things that hinder you. One, you're sitting here base camping with Roman infantry. Roman infantry is not fast. Roman infantry is tanky. They can deal a lot of damage once they're engaged. They are a frontline unit. If I come in here with, we'll say I came in here with War Dogs or Falksmen, if you're unlucky enough, I see a Germanicus coming for me. He's coming up right along through here, right? Because I came around down through here. He's coming back here. I'm going to move here. Oh, he switched to go that way. I'm going to move here. Oh, he's microing. Well, I'm going to run out here, run around, come back in through here. And I'm just going to keep fucking with him. Because as long as he's focused on me, he's not out up here helping his allies where he's needed most. If you want to focus on decap, play an archer, a slinger, or artillery or cavalry. Not Roman cavalry. Roman cavalry is extremely slow, and if Roman cavalry is decapping, then there's usually a problem, because if it's anywhere like halfway through the map, unless it's a tiny map, they can't get back to decap. They're too fucking slow. But if you want to get your decap points or whatever, don't do it as a fucking Germanicus. Do it as fucking Alexander. Do it as Kanane or Miltiades or some shit like that isn't necessarily a frontline unit. Because you know what your team needs? Frontline units to defend the range and to fight the frontline fight. Another player on here, his name is Hollowtongue. And I am calling out players in this game because it's fucking ridiculous. Maybe he doesn't always do this, but in this particular game that we played, not this game, but a different game, he has Leonidas Pikes. Pikes, the only pike unit we have, mind you, on Marathon. Leonidas Pikes on Marathon, and he doesn't leave the base until the very end. We literally lose this game because he didn't do shit. And then he had the audacity to tell my friend who was playing Leonidas Spears, because he didn't have a high aggression, that he clearly didn't know, what he was doing, even though he was our top scorer, because he played Leonidas the way he's supposed to, as a fucking frontline tank with raised shields, took a fuck ton of archer fire, pushed all the way to the enemy base, and I would have pushed in with them, except I had to go around because of the way things were, and I was playing Roman cavalry and going through woods, so I was slow as fuck, but I was stopping a general flank from happening, and we end up losing literally because we didn't have a Leonidas front line. We didn't have enough frontline troops to help us defend while he was sitting back at base. We'll just say that right here is the engagement that's happening out in the woods, right? Here is the base and his units. He wouldn't even go out that far from the base until the very, very end, when we are losing horribly, to go out and fight. That is the worst kind of player on your team. If you're going to play Leonidas, he's a frontline unit. Treat him as such. If you're going to play Germanicus, he is a frontline unit. Treat him as such. I mean, look at that. What about this guy right fucking here says, yep, I'm going to sit around the base. If I can ever get a good shot. Yeah. What about this right here says, yep, I'm good to just sit on the base all fucking game. Absolutely nothing. Look at that. Heavy armor, big shields, giant fucking helmets. I don't understand. Why would you use that as a base camping unit? You want it to run some cav in there and smash into them real quick, get your decap points? That would make sense. You want to play an archer, come back and pelt them from range? That makes sense. Keeping your unit back on the base as heavy infantry of any sort, whether it's Roman infantry or whether it's Greek infantry, is just retarded, and you're gonna cost your team the battle 9 times out of 10. So my rant is that this game needs some balancing to make archers less noobish. And I feel like decap points are too overrated. They offer too much in the way of experience. So do cap points in general. And so I feel that that the base camping thing needs to be just completely gotten rid of, which I would totally 100% support that. Or you need to have proper siege battles with like a city where your catapults and archers and infantry and how the cavalry gets in through the gates and stuff like that actually matters and can affect the battle. Or you need to drastically lower how much points you get from decapping people, because it's making you can get enough points from decapping 1 or 2 players that you can get 2,000 points off of it easy, or more, just from decapping. And I say easily, like it's not hard at all, and it shouldn't be that way. Anyways, that's my last rant for this, so fuck it. Let's watch this video. The reason why I specifically wanted to watch this video and didn't want to rant through it, 1, is kind of short, and 2, if you recall, a couple weeks ago I released a video about the Zeal clan and Falx God and stuff. They had a pro team. Once again, I'm running into Falx God with one of the Sun Tzu fanboys, clan, whatever. And I just, these are pro players, right? I say pro jokingly, I guess. Here's why. I have fought these guys multiple times. This is the second time I'm going to bring up. And I'm not impressed. I'm just not. Here you have a professional player, somebody who in the forums and stuff, Falx God, people fucking go nuts over this guy and think he's like the best fucking player in the world for some fucking reason. No, he's not always a bad guy. You know, he plays decent sometimes. But I don't think he's good. And Sun Tzu, they're overrated. They're fucking a kiss ass for the developers. But whatever. Here's why I don't think he's good. This is Falcon right here. He can see me. He has the vision to see me. And he charges right in. Boom. I hit him. Boom. He's down over half of his units on a charge where he does maybe 10% damage. Not worth it. This is the Sun Tzu dude up here. He's about to get fucked too here in a second. This guy gets absolutely shredded here. Which that's just, I don't know what he was doing. But they just completely ignore us after that. Like, oh fuck, we can't do shit. So we keep moving. This guy right here thought he was gonna do some smooth shit. You just keep watching. Faust God's already fucked up. Big time. And now everybody messes up, but that was just fucking stupid. Alright. I bait the fuck out of these guys. Ready? Ready? Beep. I don't know what he thought he was going to accomplish there. Same thing happened to him that happened to Sun Tzu. He charged me and lost half of his unit. He actually did better than Sun Tzu. He left with a little bit more. But Jesus. Now we come up here to this Sun Tzu motherfucker. He doesn't try to leave or fight. He runs this unit to base. I don't know why. I just sit here, let my javelins do their job. I'm just gonna sit here and protect them. I don't get hardly shit for points. You can see I've got 1,000 for support. Mostly. I'm just gonna sit here and protect my range. Let them kill this cavalry, or this arty. Won't take no time at all. We've done that. Alright. They had 2 arty players to counter our elephants. Our elephants don't even really do that much. Look at them. You know, defense points on an elephant. Nothing here. This guy sucks. That was our second game in a row with him. This is what I mean about base camping with Romans. He's gonna move these Romans around to go after these Cav. Cav's gonna move to the other fucking side. Oh, you're gonna come out this way with us? Okay, well we're gonna go to the other side now. And of course we're just gonna march in here and get a fuck ton of points real quick. But Sun Tzu overrated, Faust God overrated. I would say 9 times out of 10 Darkness and I could take on just about anyone. I'd walk out fine. You know what? We're gonna make this an extra long video. I've ranted. This is probably gonna be like an hour-long episode. This is gonna be insane. Let's do this. I'm gonna find it. Would it be this one? Kua, 4 minutes long. It's gonna be one of the Kapuas. Kapua, whatever. Let's just go through here. And take... That was his arty. I think it's going to be one of those two. Yeah, it's going to be one of those two. If it is one either of them. I'm going to say it's this one. Yeah, I'd say it's this one. I'm going to show you how you play Leonidas defensively, defending your base appropriately. If this is in fact the one that I think it is, and it won't take me long to figure out if it is. If it's not, I'll back out. If it's not the other one, then I don't have it, and then I just wasted a few minutes talking to you guys. But, you know, I love my viewership, so it's okay. It is this one, I think. Yep, it's this one. I will show you how to do defensive spears appropriately. I move up, frontline unit, of course, so I'm going to go be a frontline unit. Here's another frontline unit, some tier 8 Roman infantry. So I'm going to move out. I'm going to get a nice wide base here, because I'm spears and I can do that. They're going to adjust appropriately. I see him going out over here, and so I don't want to get flanked. So I send out this unit of spears. Of course, I'm going to let my fucking javelins go first. As soon as he pops up Testudo, guess what Darkness does? He quits shooting at him, throws some at the stakes. Come up here, I engage here, the War Dogs will also engage here. As soon as these stakes are about to break, because I'm sitting here, I'm not really watching this. I know I've got this, especially with their help, no problem. He starts to move, I start to move, right at the same time, because these are about broken. He gets a nice charge into their back here. This unit breaks and we kill it real quick. I'm not concerned that he's attacking this unit. I'm going to come up in here. My javelins did their job, make it a nice fight for me. I come in here to support the back of these guys, finish off these guys with these guys, and then push in. As you can see, they are starting to cap our base already. Somebody's back there decapping some artillery that's going to die. It's just going to. But I will sit here. My buddy Darkness, he runs off to go with the decap. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to do a little micro. You know, do a little dance, make a little love. Get down tonight. I love this formation. I've literally got them X'd in right now and just kind of keep pushing them. But these guys break. As soon as they break, I break formation here. Of course, I was doing some microing here, but as soon as I notice, pop that formation, and I send them back immediately to go help the base. I don't know what the dogs do after this. They kind of fuck off. I think they go center. As you can see, the center fight for us is kind of even right now, but we've won this side, basically, except for clearing up at the base. I've already got one unit there. I'm about to send 2 more units back. Of course, my bud here, he's pretty much up there all by himself. One lonely unit of Roman swords are up there. But my spears are coming. This is how you play Leonidas and defend your base. You don't camp it. You go up, you get in the fight. If you're where you can come back, you come back. Because to tell you right now, there's nobody that's going to hold this like Leonidas will. But you need to be on the front line first. So he comes up, he gets some shots. They're like, oh, I'm going to go get this javelin here. Easy kill. And he's like, oh, fuck. Now here's the cool thing about spears. They don't do amazing damage against elephants, but they're not half bad. Watch this. See how quickly that goes down? Granted, some of this is javelin fire. He starts to come around. Darkness says, well, guess what? I still got a couple caltrops here. Didn't really stop him very much, but, you know, maybe saved him a little bit. But you know what? I'm Leonidas. I don't care. I've got one unit fighting 2 elephants and doing well. I'm sending two more units over here to fight this elephant. You can see again, they do decent damage. Like, they're not bad. It's not amazing, but it's not bad. Get in here. Cut them down some. Look at that. Look at that. Like, it does decent damage. But anyways, because it's a cavalry unit, so it still counts as cav. It's not amazing. It still does pretty decent. You know, I'm sorry, but, you know, I'm killing the elephants, which is kind of my priority right now. It's the biggest threat to me that's here. I could have gone over there and maybe saved him a little bit better than what I did, but he still has some units, and, you know, killing off these elephants is kind of important. Look at that. Look at it. Just chunking them. And he's still got a few javelins off. Not many, but enough that he can, you know, harass them some. And like I said, just whittles it away. This is how you play a Germanicus or a Leonidas in this case defensively. You're your front line first. Then once your front line has been taken care of, you go back and you defend your base if you're where you can. If not, then you just have to continue to be an offensive force and let your cavalry, artillery, archers, things like that, go and do their job. By the way, because we're the only 2 that came back, we saved our team from losing. That's how you play a Leonidas defensively. Of course, I just line up here, because if I do ever have to fight anything else in this, I want my back to this. But, you know, easy win. And that's how you defend with Leonidas. So, don't base camp. Alright guys, that's going to be it for me. I found what I wanted to the first time. The next video is mostly like an attacking video. It's not really anything amazing. It got really chaotic in there, and it kind of looked like we were going to lose, and then we clutched it for the win. So I'm probably going to get on here, maybe play some games. Oh, one last thing that I would like to see come to Total War Arena, custom matches, so you can get decent sized group battles going on. You could have like some awesome things, like you could do all Romans versus all Greeks and give them certain stipulations, like they can only have so many of this commander and so many of that commander, so many pikes or so many artillery pieces and stuff like that. You know, like you can make it really interesting. But that's all I have for today, so y'all keep it real, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.